Hello everybody. Welcome back to your daily crypto news. Hope that you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. As always, leaving a comment, leaving a like, or subscribing. All of these things help out the channel immensely. Very big thank you to the people who leave multiple comments. I do see you. I cannot answer all of you, but I do thank you very much for all of your support. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. It says Bitcoin's price slides below $40,000 following a lackluster breakout. Much of the cryptocurrency market yesterday evening, I can't even give you a proper time frame, looked as if it was going to try to break out, as many other altcoins had begun to shoot up in price. However, Bitcoin's price went up, I believe, by around 1.5%. It says Bitcoin's price will not drop below $30,000. This is the potential low. Traders can expect another major conversation being had right now by not only analysts, but also very wealthy billionaires going on to TV shows, is just how low can Bitcoin go. It seems that the number decided by all of these people is roughly anywhere between $36,000 to $38,000. The idea being that we might, no one knows, be caught in another one of those sideways triangles for a little bit or a little while. The idea being that we need to retest lows to see exactly if Bitcoin is going to have a certain point that it continues to bounce off of, knowing that this level is support and then prices will rise once again. Why we continue to have to test support for the next 9 months, or the 9 months that also just previously passed us? Because if you remember a lot of the price news, it was we need to keep testing these numbers, and we've retested them. You might also remember when we had to retest $28,000, and we did, and we bounced off of it and went to $34,000, and we were told that once we hit $36,000, $40,000 would be next, and from $40,000 that would be the new level of support, and then we'd hit a $47,000, $48,000 Bitcoin, and now we're back at a $40,000 Bitcoin, which we told that we were not going to do before, as $42,000 was a new support. And then at some point, yeah, so we keep penduluming, I don't know, back and forth. When it comes to Bitcoin's price, it is abundantly clear the rest of the market is ready to move up. Even just on Bitcoin's literal 1% move up in price, many other altcoins went up anywhere between 4, 12, 15%, not even joking. This is after the news that we received that inflation just within the US dollar, even more so, the consumer price index, meaning things that people are buying index, is up by 8.5%. So inflation itself is actually a lot higher. As one says, technical analysis, Bitcoin technical indicators suggest short-term recovery to $41,300. Wonderful. That sounds absolutely fantastic, and I hope that we do it right now, because we can totally do it right now. There's nothing actually stopping Bitcoin from hitting those numbers. There's nothing stopping us from hitting $50,000 by the end of this week. Not a gosh darn thing. And we shouldn't have to even then retest any type of prices, you know, because we've been there before. We know that we can do it. We've seen accumulation rapidly increase. The hash rate for Bitcoin has also hit a new all-time high, which means that even more people are trying to mine the last 2 million Bitcoin that are left. So, you know. Also in like really popular price news, this was also kind of all over the place, talking about Cardano's price relative to the amount of people who are holding it. It says, while the price of Cardano has been dropping amid a wider cryptocurrency market downturn that saw the space's total market capitalization lose $170 billion, top whales have been accumulating Cardano, according to data from on-chain analytics firm Sentiment, while ADA is now down significantly from its all-time high of $3.10. Whales holding over 10 million ADA tokens have returned to their largest percentage of supply held in 2 years at 46%. You heard that correctly. There's a chart for it right there. Sentiments data shows whales have been accumulating since February of last year as the price of the cryptocurrency climbed to its all-time high and proceeded to come back down to the $1 mark. Yes, the same as many other major coins, whales are accumulating them. And I think it just seems... Now here's my own thought, opinion on this. Before in the past... mainly for Bitcoin, Litecoin. I don't think Ethereum was really part of this conversation as much yet. It was also for XRP and a couple of other coins. Companies like Sentiment and Glassnode began to appear, and people began to figure out that there were very large addresses out there. Before it was kind of everyone's using crypto, everyone's happy and fun, and then people were like, hey, I have one XRP. That address has 480 million. The idea of whales holding large amounts of these coins then became a huge topic, and everyone's like, centralization, centralization. The way that I've kind of come to view it over the last couple of years is that over the course of any market downturn, we always, and you can't say that you haven't heard it because it's been every single day, we always get news of whale accumulation. It's also happening in the NFT market. Not sure if you're paying attention to that as well, because a lot of people aren't. The point is, for some reason, during a market downturn when prices are going sideways, prices are going down, the market's a bit lull, people are fearful in the market, the vast majority of retail investors do nothing. They actually sell. They wait for the market to actually recover so that they can buy on the way up as the prices are spiking, and they don't buy when prices are low. Why this phenomenon continues to happen over and over in every single market is not just our market. It's also in the housing market. It's also in the stock market. It's everywhere. Whenever prices are down, for some reason, the interest seems to fade away from everyday normal people, and they go, I'm not really into the market right now. Prices are very low. I have so many friends. When prices are, I always know that, and I always know, always, when we are on the cusp of entering a mega bull market in crypto like we did when Bitcoin hit nearly $70,000, because people who aren't into crypto begin to ask me, should they get into crypto? It's always the same. They never ask. I told you a story. This was years ago. I'll never, ever, ever forget this. I was with a bunch of, I'll say acquaintances. I wouldn't even call them friends. We were all hanging out, and they knew that I was into crypto. They knew it. It just kind of came up in conversation one time. They saw some of the prices they were talking about. I was like, yeah, I'm into it. And a couple of months later, I think Bitcoin's price had fallen. I don't remember the exact number. This was years and years and years ago. I mean, like a very dramatic fall. And at some point, someone was talking about money, and someone looked at me and said, so how's that Bitcoin thing going? And they all laughed. It was about 5 or 6 people. They all looked at me and laughed. And I remember just thinking, I don't want to call them stupid. It's just more of I remember thinking that I was accumulating other cryptocurrencies at the time while prices were low. And I was like, if these prices go up, they're going to ask me at some point how to get into this market. And then the market went back up, and they were asking me how do they start buying these coins because they also wanted to make money. Bringing it on back, it makes total sense that whales now hold 46% of the supply, because a lot of retail investors, everyday normal people who should be taking advantage, and once again, not financial advice, because I know that some people go, he said it, I have to buy now. No. Get your life together. Like, listen to what I'm actually saying. Every single time that prices drop, the people who benefit the most are people who buy. That's usually the entire case. It just so happens to be that the whales, who also look at the charts, who look at other metrics, they also buy a lot when they see that prices are low, because to them, here's the logic, it went to $3 before, it's at $1 now. With all the developments and all the upgrades, it can probably go to $3 again. I'll be able to easily triple my money by simply putting it into this coin that is still being used, is very popular, and is being developed on top of. That's usually the idea. We've had news like this many other times before from many other coins. Like I said, years ago, the discussion was mainly for Bitcoin, Litecoin, and XRP. People were trying to figure out if Litecoin's creator was holding 30% of the stash, and then that's where the news of the the Satoshi wallet came out and how many he holds and how many XRP is Ripple holding. It's all of this idea of, anyway. So yeah, this was very popular news. I'm sure a lot of people will be quite frazzled by this and all these other things, but don't forget, what was the news that we had a couple of days ago? Isn't there one, I think there's one wallet that holds 30% of all the Dogecoin as well? That's the Cardano Whale news. It says this is when Bitcoin traders can expect a fresh rally. Here's what comes next for Bitcoin's price. This article says 42,000. Like many of them, they're kind of mimicking this 41,500, 42,000 end of day price level. If we can hit those numbers, stay above them, they're expecting a bit of a rally. No one I see at the moment is calling for a $50,000 or $60,000 movement in Bitcoin's price. They're all kind of calling for a movement above the mid 40,000s and kind of resting and or slightly moving around there until analysts can relook at the charts and see where they believe that prices are going to go. It says Bitcoin and Ethereum consolidate losses. And here's the most popular news story of the day. It says Shiba Surges. That's right, everybody. Popular trading platform Robinhood has listed Shiba Inu, as well as 3 other popular cryptocurrencies. Supporters of the meme crypto have petitioned for a very long time for Robinhood to list SHIB. Popular trading platform Robinhood announced the listing of 4 cryptocurrencies. They said, we're pleased to announce that customers can now buy and sell Compound, Polygon, Solana, and Shiba Inu. The prices of these coins went up. I mean, by maybe 3.5–4%. Shiba Inu, however, I think went up anywhere between 30 to 35%. It was a straight line up, like not sideways. It looked insane because the price went completely up towards the sky. Supporters of Shiba Inu are ecstatic. Understatement to see that SHIB is now live on Robinhood. The Shiba community has been petitioning on change for the platform to list the meme coin since October of, has it only been that long? It feels like it's been like since 1997. My gosh. Nearly 560,000 signatures have been collected as of Tuesday. This coin was listed on every other major exchange on this planet, and the price did not move. I sincerely, and I mean this from the bottom of my digital heart, I hope this coin goes to $9 now, simply because everyone hyped up Robinhood so much. You got it. Go for it. I remember when Coinbase, Kraken, and Binance, I was like, well, there, you know, that's the digital trinity right there. You guys, you know, go make all your money with SHIB. The price, I think the price even went down one of those days. You got your Robinhood. This is the most popular news story of the day. Everyone's completely losing their minds. I hope it goes well. Robinhood even was announcing that they're giving away $100,000 to 10,000 people. I think you have to do it somewhere through their Twitter or whatever the actual case might be. Wonderful. You got your Shiba Inu on Robinhood. That should be the final frontier to the moon or to the Shiba, whatever is going on there. So, right. That's basically all the price news. A lot of, I mean, and I cut out a huge portion of it. A lot of it was basically this really weird, where are we going, how high or how low can Bitcoin's price go kind of weird thing. Anyway, yeah, that's all the price news. And yes, let's move on. In the second most popular news story of the day, Ripple Labs has struck a blow against the US SEC's case after the presiding judge made a ruling that one Ripple community lawyer calls a very big win for Ripple. The SEC filed suit in 2020 against Ripple and executives Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson for selling unregistered securities. Presiding Judge Sarah Netburn denied the SEC's request to reconsider shielding documents under privilege related to a June 2018 speech made by Ripple's then director William Hinman. In the speech, Hinman said Bitcoin and Ethereum are not securities. The SEC previously did not object to those documents falling outside deliberate process privilege protection, and it suggested that they concerned only Hinman's personal views, not Ripple's policies. I'm pretty sure Hinman used to actually work for the SEC, which makes it even more interesting. I'll give you exactly what's going on because a lot of the wording is very confusing. The DPP exempts some documents in a case from being disclosed by the government so it can confidentially review existing policy based on the materials of these documents. The judge basically told them the SEC seeks to have it both ways, absolutely, but the speech was either intended to reflect agency policy or it was not. Having insisted that it reflected Hinman's personal views, the SEC cannot reject its own position. Once again, the past always comes to bite the SEC in the canoodle. A lot of you might remember this was years ago. For some reason, the cryptocurrency space always has these things that kind of end up coming full circle. Someone creates a problem, and then it becomes a problem for everyone else, and then that problem ends up looping back to the US SEC. This particular problem had to do with, in 2017, it's funny how time works out. This also has to do with the entire Cardano whale thing. Years ago, the idea of a security was non-existent within the cryptocurrency space. I mean, non-existent. Around the February, March, April of 2017, a lot of the cryptocurrency market had begun to move back up. Prices were kind of, prices looked kind of cool. A lot of people got very excited. Ethereum went from, I think, $8 to $15, and people were like, wow, I can't believe that prices are actually moving. The issue was that XRP became incredibly popular, and a number of cryptocurrency enthusiasts were asking crypto exchanges, mainly Coinbase, which was the main one that had launched at this point, to launch XRP onto their platform. Coinbase did not listen. I told all of you before, and we've seen before in other websites and other news stories, that allegedly the CEO of Coinbase is obsessed with Ethereum. He believes that Ethereum is going to be the it of the future, like not the it coin, simply the it. The internet will run on Ethereum, companies will run on Ethereum, etc., etc. So the news was he was not going to be listing XRP anytime soon. And then it kind of got down to when prices began to really spike. XRP around hit $1, somewhere around there. Everyone completely lost their minds because the idea was so many other people behind the scenes kept on saying that XRP could never go above 1 cent. Do you remember this? A lot of you must be shaking your heads. You must remember the idea was that XRP was garbage. It was never going to go above 1 cent. It hit 20 cents, 50 cents. And I remember during the course of it hitting 40 cents to $1, I never mentioned it in a video because I didn't want anyone to say, well, it's only rising because TMI is saying something. I said nothing. Not a word until we got to $1. And I think I even made a special video for it hitting $1. It hit $2. It hit $3. Everyone was throwing all of their money into XRP. It was the new it coin. Coinbase still refused to actually add it onto their platform. And then by the end of the year, this conversation began to develop within the cryptocurrency space. And it wasn't explicitly in the beginning from the SEC. It was the idea of securities within the cryptocurrency space because the CFTC had come forward to announce that they had no real jurisdiction over the cryptocurrency space. They said, in their view, it's kind of its own flowing market. The SEC said, ha, 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 no, no, no. This is definitely our market, and they began to go after a couple of other cryptocurrency coins. These coins, after the SEC went after them, began to falter, collapse almost immediately. And then the US SEC decided to start talking about which coins are securities. There was a Bitcoin conference at some point at the end of 2017 where people began to announce, well, XRP is clearly a security. That began the downfall of much of the cryptocurrency market because these people didn't realize that if the SEC considered one coin a security, they were going to consider all of them to be securities, and many of the other coins in the cryptocurrency market began to fall. You must remember all of this because the SEC basically licked their lips, rubbed their hands together and said, now this is basically our market. So the idea was that in the beginning of 2018, attack XRP as much as you possibly can. You might remember there were also 3 lawsuits that popped up out of nowhere, which I still personally believe were completely fraudulent and were actually made on the basis of people behind the scenes who didn't like Ripple and or XRP coming forward to basically trying to lower the coin in price as much as possible. Because remember, Ripple's price had gone up so much in 2017, it actually became the #2 coin and was, I mean, if we had a $7 XRP, it would have flipped Bitcoin's price and become the #1 coin. So I think behind the scenes, all of this just has to do with some type of keep Bitcoin #1 in the space. The 3 lawsuits that basically popped up, the most impressively stupid one was the guy who came forward and said that he was suing Ripple for selling unregistered securities. And people were like, why, bro, why? He said under the basis that when he was trading XRP, the price of it fell. It's Ripple's fault that it fell, like Ripple, the company, fault that it fell. And I believe he lost, was it $300 in his trading? Not 300,000, not 30,000, not $300 million. It was a couple of $100 that he said that he lost. And for some reason, it was Ripple's fault. Not that he lost money from Litecoin, and it was Charlie Lee's fault. Not that he lost money from Stellar Lumens, which also fell, or Bitcoin or Ethereum. You kind of get the point. It was this one coin. It's around this. I'm giving you the entire history because I want you to understand exactly how significantly ridiculous all of this actually is. Is at this point that members of the SEC began to come forward and basically say, this coin does not look like a security. This coin is definitely not a security. And it was basically only 2 coins. It was Bitcoin. And everyone lost their mind and were like, yeah, I knew Bitcoin wasn't a security. Take that, XRPers. And then the next day it was Ethereum. They said Ethereum does not look like a security to us, which was also done by heavy lobbying. Because if you remember in 2017, the SEC actually said that they thought that Ethereum was a security because they actually did have an ICO and the number of Ether were actually pre-mined. Yeah, I know, crazy, right? People forget that all these things actually took place. So then after the announcement of Ethereum and Bitcoin not being securities, the SEC went silent. Silent. And everyone was like, well, they're going to announce it in another week. They're going to say Litecoin's not a security, Lumen's not a security, etc., etc. They never mentioned any other coin. And as far as I remember, I'm not sure if it's this exact person who's listed here as the person who said something, but there was a person from the SEC who stood up and said, we believe that these coins are not securities based off of these metrics. A lot of other coins also made those metrics, like, matched up with those metrics. Therefore, they're not securities. And this is when Coinbase began their listing spree. You might also remember that as well. Coinbase was like, we're going to be listing about 100 coins onto our platform in 2018. People took that as, we don't know if, but people took it as the SEC sat in a room with Coinbase and basically said, you can list these coins. It's around this time when Coinbase finally listed XRP onto their platform and everyone said, well, clearly it's not a security. Why would Coinbase have listed it if they were going to have to delist it? Because that would make no sense. The SEC clearly knows about it because the SEC was on a gigantic warpath in 2018 and 2019 trying to stay relevant as much as possible in any space to get into the cryptocurrency space to say that they actually controlled a number of these currencies. You might remember, I think at this point, there were around 14, 15 different lawsuits on a lot of other coins, especially the other texting app coins like Kin and what was the other one? It wasn't Line. Whatever the other texting apps were, they announced that they were also going to be launching their own cryptocurrencies onto their platform. The SEC said, and everyone was like, okay, the SEC has gone after 14, 15 other coins. It's clearly not XRP. That brought us to the end of 2020 when the former chief executive officer, CEO, whatever his title was of the SEC on his last day in office said, oh yeah, we believe that XRP is a security, and then left the SEC. That was on his very last day when he launched this lawsuit against them. So now, once again, full circle, just so you have the entire story, everything that happened because of the SEC, everything that they said, now they're trying to backtrack on and say, well, that was the opinion of one person. I'm going to tell you some logic right here. As much as the SEC has desperately been trying to get control over the market, I'm going to assume that someone working for the SEC probably had knowledge. Hear me out here. Someone working for the SEC probably had knowledge of what the SEC was saying, came forward and said these coins are not securities. There's a reason why the very next day, the very next week, the very next month, this was not corrected by the SEC to say, sorry, that's only one person saying it, and these coins' prices went up. The SEC knew exactly and knows exactly what they're doing. Very popular news. A lot of people are saying that this could be near the end. This is also the time frame that we got around January. It was April that this lawsuit should be finishing. I hope for goodness that it does. And even more so, I hope for a win for Ripple. I do not care if you do not like Ripple and or XRP. Understand, if XRP/Ripple loses this battle, your favorite altcoins are going to be decimated because the SEC is going to go after them. They will be emboldened. They will be empowered by winning a court case against something that is clearly not a security that they are trying to claim that it is. And they will go after Cardano, Solana, Polkadot, and you name it. You know that it's true. I'm glad that there is a competent judge, and I mean that in the most honest way possible, that this person is like, no, you cannot have it both ways. So, this is once again the second most popular news story of the day. I hope that this is finished, finalized relatively soon, because if Ripple wins this lawsuit, the entire cryptocurrency space is probably going to rally because the SEC will have no precedent of winning a case and saying, well, if that one's a security, all of you are. Which would also probably have them target Ethereum once again as well. You have to understand, this is about money and power. This isn't about actually making a safe space for American investors. It's about how much control can we, as a company, have control over everything else. It's always about money and power. It has nothing to do with protecting the U.S. consumer, because we would have heard well beforehand, this man's last day in office, that they had an actual problem with Ripple and XRP. We would have actually heard that in 2016 when Ripple XRP became a very popular coin. So, that's the XRP SEC saga. Could potentially be ending soon. No one knows when. Please, dear God in heaven, let it end sometime this year, because this conversation is so drawn out and the SEC knows exactly what they've done and should never have done. That's the XRP news. And yeah, let's move on. Also in water is wet news, Facebook whistleblower Frances Haugen has taken aim at Meta in a new interview, suggesting that its version of the Metaverse will simply repeat all of its past mistakes. In an interview with Politico, Haugen said they've made very grandiose promises about how there's safety by design in the Metaverse, but if they don't commit to transparency and access and other accountability measures, I can imagine just seeing a repeat of all the harms you currently see on Bookface. In 2021, Haugen leaked thousands of internal documents from Facebook to the SEC and the Wall Street Journal. Her experience working with the company has left her with concerns about privacy issues and about letting the corporation amass data about every aspect of users' interactions in the metaverse. She says and has said before, she believes that, here we go, and I mean, once again, water is wet. If Facebook did it before, Facebook will do it again. She said people aren't understanding. She even talks about the actual sensors in people's homes, the things that are going to be required of actually having a full interactive metaverse, having all these microphones, listening to everything you say, everything that you do. A lot of people are underestimating. This is why I keep saying I will definitely be taking part in some sort of decentralized metaverse. That is an absolute yes and a goal of mine, because I know that I'll be able to interact with people, say what I want, do what I want, and have fun how I want. The idea of Facebook's metaverse or any other major corporation, I don't care what they are going to record everything that you do, everything that you say, every step that you take. This is not a joke. This is how it's going to work. They already do this. Why people still use Facebook to actually interact with other people, I do not know. They record everything, and I mean this. Listen to me. Everything you've said, everything you've done. You want to hear an even crazier part? Everything you've written, even if you've deleted it. Yeah, I know a couple of your ears have perked up. That means if you wrote something, let's say you wrote out an entire paragraph in anger, and you go, never mind, and you hit the back button, it has still recorded what you've written. I'm not joking. Look it up. It records everything that you do and sells that data to multiple companies, whoever is the highest bidder. Everything you've written on these platforms belongs to another company who knows everything about you. Imagine going into a metaverse thinking you are free. It's beautiful, it's wonderful, it's lovely. And everything you've ever said gets recorded there as well, once again. So this is also quite popular cryptocurrency news. I assume it has to do with Meta and the metaverse, and therefore crypto-related, some sort of kind of thing. But yeah, I don't really know what more to say than Facebook is terrible and will continue to be terrible. Like, they have a certain business model. Like, you are the product. You are what is being sold to another company, and they then pay Facebook for your data. So the scariest part is that a lot of people don't care. A lot of people that think that it doesn't concern them until a couple years later when you realize that what you've been saying has been recorded, and there we go. Anyway, that's the Facebook whistleblower news. Fantastic. Yeah. Let's move on. Also in, hate to break it to you news, the Polygon network announced on Tuesday its commitment to going carbon neutral and climate positive this year by releasing their, here's the crazy part, their green manifesto, a smart contract with planet Earth, very cringy. They also made a $20 million pledge to offset their carbon footprints and buy extra credits to eventually become carbon negative. For those of you, so this is a ploy to try and make it seem as if they're actually better than they are. I myself use Polygon. I use it for the speed. I don't sit there with a delusion that this is carbon negative, carbon neutral, carbon amazing for the planet. Just throwing that out there. I try to use things as logically as TMI possible. The idea of buying carbon credit so backing it up a tiny bit, the entire cryptocurrency space has caught themselves in this, once again, a really weird loop because it keeps happening within the cryptocurrency space. A couple of years ago, people began to announce the only way that they could try and discredit Bitcoin was that Bitcoin is using too much electricity. People found that Bitcoin was using too much electricity, but it was using hydropower. A large part of it was solar. A large part of Bitcoin mining is actually coming from very cold areas or very warm areas that have solar power, that have wind power, or using hydroelectric power from dams in the north. Then the entire idea was, well, they're still using too much electricity and it's bad for the earth. So a lot of the people in the cryptocurrency space began to come forward and say, yes, Bitcoin is very bad for the earth. We're going to figure out how to make it better. This was the entire time when Elon Musk was coming forward, and I told you all that he was a megalomaniac back then, and people didn't believe me. The idea was that Elon Musk said, we're going to accept Bitcoin. Nobody bought any Teslas with Bitcoin. And then he said, okay, we're going to stop using Bitcoin because Bitcoin's not green enough. So now the cryptocurrency space has caught themselves in this. Now we have to make Bitcoin greener mathematically because everyone's paying attention to these numbers. The same exact conversation is now happening for Ethereum as well. We've gone over that a couple of times in a couple of other videos where people are announcing, well, Ethereum's not green enough, but it's going to be green once we actually go to proof of stake. I believe it uses 10% of 1% of all the electricity that they're currently using because it's simply going to be on people's computers, on their laptops, and you won't need thousands of rigs to be able to mine these coins. This gets us to the other side chains and other layer 2s that we're also seeing now, like Polygon, that are popping up, that are constantly announcing how green that they are. However, people are looking into the numbers and realize that they're not actually that green because they're still running on top of Ethereum. And they also take massive amounts of electricity just to be able to send one transaction. Cool. Everybody got that? Wonderful. The idea is, well, we can simply buy carbon credits, which sound really cool to the general public. And the more carbon credits that we actually buy, the more terrible things that we can do to the environment. Hear me out here. The idea of a carbon credit isn't something that's actually done for the company. It's done from the company to another company. When people think that companies are buying carbon credits, they think that this company is actually buying up something themselves that is going to make the project greener. A carbon credit is basically you take money, let's say you take $20 million, and you basically give it to another company who has announced that they're going to be doing something green for the environment. That's how a carbon credit works. So basically you would say, I'm taking, and how it usually ends up working is, here's the really weird part, I'm going to be spending $20 million to offset our carbon footprint and eventually become carbon negative. You know how you do that? You pay a company somewhere in India or usually Southeast Asia, not joking, like really look it up, or somewhere in Africa that says, hey, for every dollar you give us, we are going to try and plant 5 trees. Part of the issue is that we as humans need plants to breathe. Got that part? Don't forget that. A lot of you keep forgetting really important information like that. So whenever you see deforestation, just remember what's actually going on. We need these plants to breathe. However, trees do not normally make an adequate amount of oxygen until around 20 or 30 years, even more plus of them actually being on the planet. So this $20 million that's being spent for actually to protect and offset their carbon footprint and stuff like that won't actually go into effect until we're in our 60s and 70s. Crazy, right? That's how it actually works. So there's this really weird mantra going through the cryptocurrency space. These really beautiful photos. Oh no, black smoke, but blockchain made it clear? That's amazing. I'm seeing this over and over and over. If you get a chance, look up how carbon credits actually work. Read one article. As always, do your own research. Look at how this actually works. Not that I'm explicitly against what they are doing. I'd rather them pledge $20 million to something that will eventually help the planet as opposed to nothing at all. But I'm tired of this mantra floating around in the cryptocurrency space. A lot of larger companies do this as well. A lot of airline companies do this as well. They make sure to tell everyone, because it sounds like a nice thing, we are offsetting our carbon footprint. You assume logically that it's happening immediately. That company's doing something right now that is helping the planet, and therefore anything that they're releasing into the air doesn't actually do anything. What was the other point that I also had to make? I don't really remember. The point is, oh yeah, the other point is what companies should actually be doing is actually buying up land. That's the real kicker, and they're usually not. These mega companies should be buying up actual parts of forests and protecting them, like under like World Heritage sites, and simply saying, no, you cannot ever touch this. This is our land. And therefore, we're protecting the plants that are currently pushing out tons of oxygen as opposed to what's actually going to be doing it in 20, 30, 40, and or 50 years. So, once again, not that they're not doing something good, but this is a very, what's the word? The word's not political. It's something It's like an institutional speech. Like, you know how when you go onto finance news before you got into crypto and you try to realize a lot of what they're saying and it sounds like gibberish because they're saying all these like really weird securities, recovery, all these other phrases, and you're like, I have no idea what they're talking about. This is kind of the same exact thing. If you don't know what they actually are, then you just assume with a green manifesto, a smart contract with planet Earth, that means they're doing something immediately. Anyway, that's the Polygon news. And I had to talk about it because this is not the first cryptocurrency project that has done this. And they will not be the last. Anyway, I have a lot more to say, but look it up. Look up exactly what a carbon credit is and how long it actually takes to offset what they're doing. Alrighty, let's move on. And then besides that in the news, it was a very weird news day. It says Pantera Capital has raised $1.3 billion for a blockchain fund with plans to raise more next year as well. Pantera has basically announced that they are going to be or have raised $1.3 billion to basically throw money into Web3 and as many new cryptocurrency projects as they possibly can, with the idea being, if we get into them early enough, we can profit the highest. It's kind of like getting into Ethereum at $1 to $3,000 as opposed to getting in at $3,000 to $9,000. You know, you tripled your money, but you kind of want to get in as early as possible. What else are they also throwing money at? This was also relatively popular news. It's not the most exciting thing in the entire world, basically, because it just I keep saying basically. It's what a venture capital firm does. They raise tons of money, throw it at tons of ventures and funds, as many as they possibly can. And eventually they're trying to raise an additional $200 million to put into more mature revenue generating companies than the typical seed and Series A venture investments, usually probably meaning Bitcoin, Cardano, and all the other major coins. The market never moves on news like this, no matter what we've gotten. And I've noticed that explicitly. If we got news that one company is buying $10 billion worth of Bitcoin and Bitcoin's price fell, no one's paying attention to any, we raised $1.3 billion for a blockchain fund kind of news. Also in the news, it says Brazil is planning a central bank digital currency pilot the second half of this year. No one cares. Explicitly, like no one actually cares. Every single country right now is doing their own, we're launching our own central bank digital currency, let's try and make this happen kind of thing. When 2 years ago, they all announced that none of them had any plans to actually do it. I think the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund both told other countries, no, you cannot and will not do this because it's not necessary. How weird now that it's like super necessary and everyone actually has to do it. And the other news is Mozilla Firefox says that they will only be accepting proof-of-stake crypto donations. Check back to the other story that I was just telling you about. The entire idea being proof-of-stake is the best, and therefore we can only accept proof-of-stake coins and blah, blah, blah. But people are going to try over the next 5 to 10 years, pay attention to this, over the next 5 to 10 years to try and get Bitcoin to move to proof-of-stake. Not the developers, but people outside of the Bitcoin sphere are going to try and muscle their way in and say that Bitcoin has to be proof of stake in order to have any actual adoption. It's never going to happen. I'm telling you, if you've never spoken to a Bitcoin maximalist or see the actual mantra of Bitcoin, the idea is Bitcoin has value because of the energy that it's consuming. I know that may sound a bit weird to a lot of people who aren't in the Bitcoin space, but that's kind of the idea, is that Bitcoin has value because of all the machines working. The energy that they're taking in poops out a Bitcoin, and that's the value that gives it its actual price. So yeah, does anyone actually care that Mozilla is only accepting proof-of-stake coins? Probably not. How many people were donating to Mozilla anyway in crypto? Yeah, see, not that many people, right? So anyway, that's all the news for today. Very weird news day, but I mean every single day in this space. Like, there's no normal days in the cryptocurrency space. Let's be completely honest with ourselves. Alrighty, let's moving on. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters, GBU Wally, Bubble Mode, How's Life Austin, Auspicious Agile and Blockchain, Jamie Saad, Blockchain Simplified, and let's move on. Empire Queen, Fud Weiser, Roman Geba, Bitcoin Ben, Arachno Dave, Tony Ambroski, The Dealer's Den, Captain Something, Captain Something, and the Z-Way Lay, Mo Barazi, VB Nerd 21, Miguel Grollet, Lauren De Silva, Quoted Biddy, Troy Allgood, Space Case, Nita Miracle, Paternoster, Navarro Williams, Utopia 569, Moonman High, XRP, Martin Steuer, Nostromo, John Sarson, The Animal Reader, A Bibliophobia, Todd Mullis, Adam Graysick, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Bankroll Network, Crypto Artist, Cole D3D, Setsuna, Richie Rich III, Paxis, Nick Mangialavori, Jim Gardner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Yes to Crypto, Bodie McBoatface, Anytime Fitness, Monk's Corner Staff, Bake Me a Cake, Tigara Machonisa, On Crypto with Lionel, and Crayola Michelle URL. Thank you all very, very, very much for your continued support. Thank you to all the new Patreon members. Thank you to everyone who is a supporter of my art. Thank you to everyone who left a like, who left a comment. If you are still here listening to me ramble on, type in the comment section carbon credits to let me know that you're still there. At the moment, Bitcoin is currently at $40,109. It is up by 0.01%. Like what? Ethereum is up by 1%. Binance Coin is up by 2%. XRP is up by 1.3%. Shiba Inu is up by 20%. Still going strong off of that news of the Robin Hood. Anything else crazy? Polygon is up by 4. Uniswap is up by 2. OKB is up by 2. Monero's down by 4. I don't know what was happening there. Compound Ether has $136 worth of trading volume, so we're not going to even rest on that one. Yeah. Let's see what the rest of the week brings us. We all know that it's going to be ridiculous. That's just the market that we are in. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope that it is absolutely spectacularly, wonderfully fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, and or supporting, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See